Hello.
How you doing?
I am here with Spence. We're going to be talking about War in the North. What's up, Mikey? Please let us know if our audio's garbage or not. I did a test recording, but that didn't work for me last time. We'll do video review, I don't know, sometime. This is more important, so we're doing that today. um, so, I wanted to get Spence. Are you the president of MINAC? Or
I am. I am the president of MINAC, and I'm going to start on the stream as well so I can see questions, but
sure.
I don't have it muted yet, so hopefully I don't do that.
Yeah.
There we go.
All
It's
right.
muted now.
Cool.
All right, cool. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
problem. So I wanted to get with Spence here because he's the president of MINAC. When Cyrus and I came up with the concept of doing the tens, we went to a bunch of people, but we really quickly narrowed it down to a couple of people who seemed to have their shit together. And more than anyone else, MINAC has their shit super down. They had timing that worked for us. They had everything in place. They put together a great proposal. And so we definitely wanted to work with them with their event War in the North, which is this the fourth year running or...
No, it's the second year we're
Second
having it.
year. Okay.
So the first time was 2019. That was our first big event of that type, if you want to call it big. We had 4 teams show up for a tournament. We ran like a chapter war tournament, which was brutal. Texas showed up, the Warlords, before they became the meta that they are now.
Right.
And then it was the Serpents and Chicago. So, and then the Wyverns. So our local team here. So one of the founding members of Minnesota Armored Combat.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the second time you guys weren't able to make a War in the North happen over COVID then.
Correct.
Okay.
And then it was a matter of funding, and
Yeah.
we really focused on growing the Wyverns and getting that team up and going from 10 people to, I think we have 26 paying members now and 18 people with access to armor. So
Yeah.
now that that's done, we want to start doing a lot more events.
I mean, I feel like you've been doing a pretty decent job at that too. Like you guys have been putting out some streams, maybe at least two a year. It seems like you're doing events. Maybe.
Yeah, we've been doing some chapter wars. So we fought Omaha, we fought Iowa. We've done some training camps as well. So we had Craig Ivey out for a regional training camp, invited some other teams for that. We've got Dan Hornbuckle coming out in October. So that's part of our mission for MINAC, is to grow the sport of Boo-Hurt within the Minnesota territory, as we call it, or area. So it's not just limited to Minnesota. We want the teams around us to be better too, because it's more fun to fight better teams.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that really attracted me to working with y'all, is that you guys are working hard to put the Midwest back on the map, right? There was a time when the Midwest was it was like one of going to be the next big regions, and then stuff happened, COVID happened, and then kind of while everyone was looking at Dallas and looking at Cerberus, everyone missed the fact that you guys put together a pretty fucking 28 fighters. Is that what you said?
I think I have 26 dues paying fighters right now.
Right, like that's huge for a club. Very few clubs have most clubs don't have 10 members, right? So, and you're putting out quality content. You guys are hosting events with an audience. You guys are getting a bunch of people to come out. So big things have been happening out there.
We ran a threes tournament on Saturday, which is basically 3v3 Ironman tournament, no subs, everyone has to fight. We had 155 people in the seats.
Yeah,
basically hitting capacity for that particular venue that we were using.
Right, which is huge.
Yep.
So that's that's another big thing that had it. So we because again, one of the goals with this, Cyrus and I, we kind of have a bunch of goals. One of them was that we were going to go to a place that's more underrepresented, and so that was great that this worked out, right? Because you guys have been putting in the work, but I still don't think that the Midwest is getting the respect and sort of as known as it should be right now. So So we're really hoping that this sort of makes people see that, like, no, there's a thriving community out there. Um, so, because like right now people talk about Nashville, they talk about Dallas. They might still talk about the Hall, but I don't know that people have been coming out to New Hampshire anymore. Maybe this year for Valhalla because we got Rookie Rumble happening, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
Where's Rookie Rumble happening this year?
so it's happening in Massachusetts down
Yeah.
at this LARP site that we've been working at
Okay.
at Valhalla, the Valhalla event, which caused us to move our event because they
Yep.
announced first.
Like half an hour before.
Yeah, basically, I think we put up the flyer, but we hadn't been like really doing anything yet.
Yep.
And so yeah, but yeah, so anyway, that's why I wanted to get you on. Why I wanted to have this conversation and really break down because there haven't been tense events really. The hall we did Blood and Steel. The original Blood and Steel was a 10 on 10 chapter war, but it was only 2 teams. And then we tried to redo that since, and I don't think we've ever successfully got back up to 10 on 10 for the full event. It might have happened one year, but there's definitely, as far as I know, in America, we've never done a 10 more than a 5s focused tournament, and when we do it, Mass Melee always, they promise that it will happen. It'll be 2 fights because everyone's broken at the end. So,
Right.
So it's the first time anyone's been doing that. So I want to make sure people understand. And we talked about doing something different with the registration. So I want to talk about that.
Yep.
And then also talk a little bit about the site because again, I don't know how many people know about the site and stuff. So I think let's just get into it.
Sure. Where do we want to start?
Let's start with all right. So with the registration and we currently, I know we have a bunch of teams that have been saying they're interested. Dallas has said they're interested, but they haven't registered yet. So SJK has said they're interested. Colorado and a bunch of others, and we're really trying to get these pre-regs done because we have to pay for the site up front.
Yep.
We have to pay for the stands up front. You said that you're working on getting a new list, right?
So if we get enough pre-reg done, we're discussing building a tabletop that we would use for this event. We have a list currently, but it's not a tabletop list. It's the Knights Hall modular list design, which is fantastic, but people constantly hook the rail, and even when they're not supposed to. So having a tabletop eliminates that problem.
Right. Everyone wants to go to tabletop now.
Yep. It's
the thing, and so I fought in that design. I love that design, obviously. But yeah, the tabletop is sort of where we're going. So we really want to get that, and again, we can only do that if we get enough people registered early because we have to get the money out. So
yeah. If you want, I can run through kind of a high level cost breakdown of what it costs to run an event like this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just the venue itself is $2,000, and that's a negotiated price. It normally would be about $3,000 for that venue for the weekend, and I negotiated that down to $2,000. Bleacher rental is estimated about $1,500, and that's to seat 450, I believe, and our capacity is up to 600. So we'll either need to get more bleachers if we max our capacity, or we'll have to do chairs or something. We'll figure that out. It's a good problem to have if we have it, and we'll figure it out if we have that problem. Obviously, we want to pay staff, right? We want to pay our marshals. I have a budget there of like $600 to pay all the marshals, maybe $700. I'm not sure what the going rate is for marshals, so that's something I want to discuss with you guys and see, what do marshals get paid, because it is what it is, right? So we have a professional MC that we're going to be using, and he's $300, right? Worth every single penny to have an MC. I can't express enough. If you're running an event with an audience, to have an MC that's not distracted by fighting, that's not doing anything except on the microphone, keeping your audience involved. Critical for the success of an event and for audience fun. Chair rental, we need chairs for fighters to sit on. We might need chairs for vendors to sit on, that kind of stuff. We're going to have a vendor space, all that kind of stuff. Table rentals, that's coming in at about 700 for both of those. Um, we're dropping money on merchandise, so we're going to have specific merchandise for this event. We're going to invest about $1,200 in merchandise, which we hope obviously to make back by selling it, but we still have
Yes.
to pay that money up front.
Yeah.
Um, I'm budgeting about $1,200 for local advertising because we want to get what I call AIS, which is asses in seats, because asses in seats help pay for these events, right? So, and then other event staff. The way we're looking at doing event staff payment is basically a percentage of the door. So the more tickets we sell, the more the staff gets paid. And it would be like 0.75% of the door or something like that. We're working on those exact numbers, but like on the low end, it's 300. On the high end, it's like 1,200 for all of the regular staff that would be doing the event. Not a piece, but split between the staff. We also have a medical budget. I have to figure out what an EMS is going to cost me. We usually have a volunteer that does it, but I can't always count on him.
Okay.
So we want to have an EMS on staff though,
Yeah.
because people do get banged up, and I'm guessing that's going to be at probably around $400.
Yeah, I was gonna say it usually runs plus 300.
Yep.
3 to 5 is what I've seen.
Yep, exactly.
So
And then I have a miscellaneous line for like $1,000 for anything that I can't have not thought of, but I should have and I missed. Need to put that in the budget. So, grand total budget for this event is about $9,000 just to run the event. So keep that in mind when you're running events like this.
$9,000 before, like we basically have to spend $9,000 to get the event to happen, right? Like
Correct.
That's so like it's not So we need to have $9,000 in the bank just to make this happen. And
Yep.
luckily, MINAC has some money. The AMCF may be able to put some money down to it, but really, we really need to get them pre-regs in. So hopefully,
Yeah. So in pre-reg, the two things that offset that so we can run the event is pre-reg for fighters and getting sponsors landed for the event. We already have one sponsor, but it's not a money sponsor. So we've got Sparta, our soft armor, is sponsoring the event and is kicking up a bunch of equipment for us for the event that we'll be awarding to some of the teams. I don't know how we're going to split those items out yet. I don't want to make any promises, but winning teams will get stuff besides just trophies.
Yeah, and I mean, we hopefully we can get some additional sponsors on that. Like, Medieval Extreme often puts some stuff out, so so we definitely don't want to until we get all of that down. Don't want to.
And I don't count those sponsors in the budget, right? Because they're sponsoring items.
Right. Exactly.
My goal is to get 5 or 6 local sponsors at about $600 a piece. That gets them on our T-shirt, gets them shout outs, it gets them banners at the event that help cover the cost of the event, right? So that we have a pitch that we give to people when we're talking about sponsorship. There's definitely sales involved in this when you do this kind of stuff. And luckily, I have people on the team and as part of MINAC that aren't afraid to talk to people and say, "Hey, let me tell you about this really cool sport, and maybe you should sponsor it." So
good. All right, so that's sort of what we're dealing with costs, and what we're looking to, and we are looking to offset it with sponsors. And again, we're also obviously selling tickets that we will, we'll go into some into MINAC, some into AMCF, which will help us offset costs for the next event. So maybe we can drop fighter fees even lower, but that's later. So we do have to get some sales. So one of the things I wanted to do when we sat down and we first talked about it is that one of the ways that sort of seemed to make sense for me, since we were doing a tens tournament, in my previous a lot of the sports I've done, people register as teams, right? So one guy registers for the team, pays the team price, and that it's sort of on him to get that done. And he's like, yeah, I got 8 guys or whatever. And that's sort of, we tend to end up doing that for Boohurt League anyway. And so we assume that that's how people are going to want to come to this event. We assume most clubs don't have full 10-man lineups, especially because for this, we want to run our 10 men or 10 women, because we do want to do women as well. We want to have mass melees for both categories. we assume most teams can't put together a full lineup, and we wanted to do a 20-man lineup because it's not just going to be, hey, you fight 2 rounds and you're done. Everyone's going to get, hopefully, 6, 7, 8 rounds minimum. Hopefully get a lot of fighting. And 10 on 10 fighting is more brutal than 5 on 5 if you're up at the end. So having a full line switch as opposed to the 15 that normally comes seemed to make more sense. And we also wanted to leave room for a bunch of mercs, right? Because a bunch of people probably won't be able to come with their club at all. But for the clubs that did want to fight together, hey, here's register as if you were going to go to Buhurt League. We'll pair you either with another full club or with some mercs, and we'll be able to put together teams. And obviously, if you want to put together your own teams, let us know, and we'll try to make that work. But
yes. And the way we have it structured is with 8-man teams, right? Because that's what everyone's used to.
Right.
Even though we're doing a 20-man roster, it's 8-man squads is I think what I'm calling it, because it's not the full team.
Right.
So you register your 8 people that you normally register for Boot Hurt League for the event, pay that team price. And if you have 2 8-man squads you want to register them both. And just let us know, hey, I registered 2 squads. These squads should be together. And those 16 people will be together. And if you happen to have 4 more guys that register as mercs that you want with you, let us know. We'll put all 20 of you together. Right. Otherwise, the mercs will go into a pool, right? And they'll get assigned.
Right. And so this was basically a way of making sure that if you knew your team is going to go, but like you have 2 dudes who can't get their shit together, as every team fucking does, this is a way where you can register your club, and you can register your 8-man lineup as a group. So we really hope that that made sense to us when we talked it out. Hopefully that makes sense to y'all. And so that's one way of registering. And obviously you can always just register as individuals. We also did a discounted rate if you registered early for the same thing we were talking about. We won't be able to get access to the money until
August 1st.
Till August 1st, regardless. But knowing that we have these people by certain dates lets us pull money out of our own bank accounts. It lets us spend money before we get it because we know that money will be there. That we can't do if we don't, we can't go and spend $4,000, $2,000 on benches or whatever if we don't know that, hey, we are actually going to get 4 teams, 4 full teams. So that's one of the things to incentivize people registering earlier so that we can do our work earlier to make sure that this event is a big success. It really lets us. It also helps us get sponsors if we can be like, hey, this is a list of people. We're gonna have, we already have 40 fighters. We already have 80 fighters coming. So we wanted to give a discount to that. So if you, I don't remember what our discount rate. I think it was the first.
I have it up if you want me to read it off.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So the first 4 8-man squads to register will be $175. The second 4 to register would be $200. The remaining squads to register would be $250. Right. So you're really incentivized to register early.
Yeah.
And it's not like a date that you get that by. It's first come, first serve. Once those 4 $175 slots are gone, they're gone. Right. Yeah. Same with the 200 and same with the 250. For single registrations, it's 30 for early registration. There's 16 slots open for that. I probably need to make that bigger. I don't know why I only did 16. Because that's early. So 16 for early, and then there's 50 for us lazy guys like me. I'd probably end up paying the 40. So, and then it's the same structure for femme fighters, right? 175 for the first 2, 200 for the second 2, 250 for the remaining 2, and then 30 and 40 for 16 and 50 for individual fighters registering. So,
right.
And registration is open until August 1st. You can register after August 1st, maybe if we're not full.
Right.
But we'll have to work that out because Eventbrite won't be up for that anymore.
So right. So that's the thing. We do have to close it so that we can get the money out, and we are limiting the amount of fighters. We wanted to limit it. We thought 6 men's teams, 2 women's teams. That's 100. We just did this math. 160 fighters.
Yep. 160 fighters.
The women's team, the femmes team will be tens as well. The point is to do just a tens event. That's the point of this. We wanted to do get everyone again. All right, so Cyrus originally came up with this plan. I'm gonna walk all the way back. And he had 3 goals. One was tens because not enough people get to do tens. 2 was tens was an event somewhere that we don't see as much, right? So we've already got those things. But like 3, and he and I kind of talked about this, is a way of getting the people, in particular having a tens event for people who don't get to do it, right? Like, hey, you don't have the money to travel overseas, or you've been in the sport for 2 years, so, your chances of getting on a team aren't that high. Or like the people in your region just don't want to travel to the qualifiers, so you don't get to go on a team to get picked. So this was to a chance to bring some of that international fighting sort of spectacle back home, and let everyone do it. And that's actually, when we were talking, we originally picked August 5th for this date, and then we found out Rookie Rumble was going to be on August 5th, which meant we either had to move it or conflict with Rookie Rumble. But if we moved it, we would conflict with Balls, which is another kind of decent. And when we talked it over, we kind of decided that we thought conflicting with Balls made more sense because that's really targeted at mid to high level vets, people who've been around, people who have probably had a chance to go. Not everyone, but they've at least probably had a chance. And we really wanted to make this to be more of the everyman. Like, hey, if you don't get a chance to do this because you go to an event and you think it's going to be super cool, and then we don't run on melees at the end of it, or we go, like you went to Carnage and you were super excited for mass melees, and we did four fights with them, and 2 of the teams dropped out right away. This is to make up for that. So that's what our goal was there. I know we have a bunch of questions in the screen.
Yeah, I was just looking at those. So let's look through these here.
I know Julie pretty early asked.
So Spence Foshing is my real name. Just so you know, I'm the captain of the Wyverns, and I am the president of Minnesota Armor Combat. So thank you, IMCF Certified Marshal, for that question. What else do we have here? I got my team just being loud and casual in chat here, so shut up.
Oh man, you hit their specific.
Yep.
Julie got her answer.
The facility. The facility is an indoor facility. It is 2 indoor soccer fields. We will be fighting in one soccer field, and that's where the stands will be as well. The other soccer field will be for fighters, and I believe we're going to be putting merchandise and drinks over there. So we will have on-site drink service from a local restaurant. They'll be serving beer and that kind of stuff for our patrons. I'd appreciate if fighters did not get drunk when they're fighting, but I'm not your dad. So, and then we'll also have food trucks as well.
I'm gonna straight up say don't get drunk where the marshals can see you as an official rep. You will probably get sat because there's no rule that you can't drink, but there is a rule that you can't be unsafe. And if a marshal sees you drinking, they'll probably say you're unsafe. So. Don't do it, but if you do it, definitely hide it.
Hide it?
But don't do it.
We'll encourage you to hide it.
But don't do it. Just don't. Please don't. I don't think I can officially say it's against the rules, so.
Yeah.
But I can say that if a marshal thinks you're unsafe, you're not getting on that list.
Steel Fighter Bryce, what is the team roster size cap? So a full team is 20 fighters. We're mentioning that. We want to be able to have the teams be able to cycle 10 fighters in and 10 fighters out. Right. The goal is to get you guys as many fights as possible without you dying, right, yes. from exhaustion.
Right. And a point
because
on that.
If you're going to travel here, I want you to fight 8, 10, 12 times, right? I don't want you, doing a qualifying bracket and getting eliminated after 2 rounds, right? Because that just sucks.
It's not fun. And also on that, we want to make sure that you get a lot of fight time, but we also, like you said, we want to make sure you don't die. Tens is a lot of people talk about not wanting to do the tens early at events and stuff because they say it's more dangerous. And the reason it tends to be more dangerous is because people do it when they're super tired.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is more dangerous when you're super tired, but especially when a bunch of pole arms and axes and halberds are falling. And so having that line lets you stay fresh, and it will keep you safer.
Yep.
And so like that's part of our thing is that we want to make sure that you fight and you get have a lot of fun, but also that you don't go home broken, or at least too broken, right? Like
Yeah,
obviously,
maybe a little hurt, but not injured.
yes, exactly, right?
Julie had a question or a statement about there's plenty of time to drink after fighting.
Yeah,
We are actually working on that. We're working on a venue for our after party. We don't have that nailed down yet, but I
we
think after parties are absolutely critical to boo hurt. So
I do remember you saying something that you were thinking that there would be food trucks,
there will
possibly
be
at
food
the.
trucks there. Those are already negotiated in our contract.
Cool. So, and will they have keg service as well?
I don't know about the food trucks. We'll have indoor keg service from one of the local Mexican restaurants.
Right. So even if we can't find a place, which hopefully we will, or we can't get like a place that's a bar or whatever, we can at least, while you're packing up your gear, go to the fucking food truck, get a taco, go get a beer from wherever the keg is. So yeah, so you will be able to stick around, enjoy it. There'll be a huge communal aspect. That's definitely a big thing we're looking for. Bryce was asking about, or saying that he's worried about captains going to balls and teams not going because of it. And that's a worry, but I just like, hey, we to anyone out there who's thinking about that, who wants to go, and either your team isn't or your captain isn't there, come as a merc. Grab 3 of your boys at the very least. We'll find you a team to get on, and these 10s are the best place to go fight with other people, because no one is fighting. There is no one who has the advantage of having done a lot of 10 fights together. No one has, right? So like fighting with someone that you've never fought with is going to be almost as good as fighting with someone that you're very used to, right? Like you don't get the team synergy that you have because no one does enough 10s. Like obviously fighting with your boys is better and more fun, but like if you can't, that's not a reason not to come, right? Like come on.
Yeah, and teach your captains to delegate too. I will often, if it's an event I'm not going to, I elect an event captain. I'm like, you are going to run this event in my stead because I'm not going. It's all yours. Have fun.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for your team members to learn how to lead and to get them more invested in the team as well. So.
Yeah, so hopefully that. Also, Bryce, thank you for subscribing. I forgot I even still had that on, so sweet. I'll get like $2 in 6 months or something. I'll buy a beer with your name on it.
Should I actually log into Twitch? I'm not even logged in on this.
I mean, if you want to, if you have one of those Prime subscriber things, you can freely give me money. Well, then you can't give me money for free. You have to pay to give me money, so it's probably not worth it then. I think that was it for questions. Sky King is hype for 10s, awesome as a vet. So I think it'll be great. One of the other things that Cyrus put together for us. He reached out to Allie, who is the IMCF Night Marshal, the head. She's the head in charge. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but she runs the marshalling for IMCF. And she's going to come down, and she's going to be the marshal for this event. And in addition to that, she's going to be giving out certification. So if you want to get IMCF certified as a marshal, this is a great chance to do it. And we're also, if we get enough people to sign up for that, we'll be doing it so that fighters can go, right? Like if you're a fighter, you want to do the 10s, but you also want to get certified, sign up for it, and if we get enough people in it, we will definitely make sure that you can get it. That's sort of the key. We have Sunday. Spence has told me we have Sunday that we can use for it. We'll be able to put together some duels, some pro fights. Will be enough melee stuff so that everyone who wants to get certified should be able to. But again, provided that. And there's a separate registration for that because Allie lives in Mexico, so bringing her out, we wanted to separate the cost of that so that it's a separate cost from the regular event. Because we have to pay for her flight, we have to pay for her hotel. So like that's a bunch. So, but this is a great opportunity. If you're interested in marshaling, I highly suggest it. So yeah, that's another big thing we'll be doing there. Is anyone else nearby that could make this a fun? Is there anything else nearby that could make this a fun weekend trip? I'm pretty sure
Well,
there's a bunch of
I
shit.
know who said that. Kyle, one of my team members.
Why is he asking?
Why are you asking that, Kyle?
You live
Yes,
there.
it's going to be in Ramsey, Minnesota, which is about 25 minutes north of the Twin Cities. Lots of fun stuff to do out in the Twin Cities, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm not going to list them all here, but you guys all have a Google machine. What's fun to do in Minneapolis
It's
and figure
it,
it out.
it's definitely
Um,
supposed to be one of the up and coming tourist cities. It
yeah.
has been for 10 years, 2 decades, a while. Like
If if you like to dance, one of my favorite nightclubs has got an awesome dance night Saturday night at Ground Zero. That night is Bondage a Go Go. It's a good time. So if you like industrial dance and leather, then great place to go and have fun. But I don't know if you guys have the energy after tens
yeah.
to hang out there. But that's the only thing I'm going to pitch.
Skiking, it's a 1 day event, but we're tacking on a martial certification thing. Um, there are not going to be like pro fights in terms of come out to get pro fights, but if you want to be martial certified, you have to know how to watch a pro fight and watch duels. So the point is we'll have a way of getting people certified on all points of that. But it'll be like 1 round duels. Don't come to this looking for duels or melee or pro fights. No, it's my point is if you're trying to be a marshal, we will make sure that all the martially things we can check the boxes. You can get your blessing. You can walk out and be like, hey, I'm a certified marshal, which is really good because a lot of people just say, hey, I'm a marshal, and there's no checks on it, and they might not even know the rules. So, so
I've run into marshals like that. So
I've been a marshal like that.
yeah.
I ran an event thinking I knew all the IMCF rules, and I did not, and wasn't great. But so yeah, that's that's one of our plans. I have a bunch of notes. Where did they go? Good. All right. We talked about the site. We talked about it's going to be indoors. We're hoping to get hotel blocks, but we don't know that that's going to happen unless that happens.
Those are getting negotiated, so
Right.
we should have hotel blocks. It's just
We should or may. Last I heard,
we
we
should.
were still at May. Okay.
We should.
Hey, look at that. Got a little
I'm
bit better.
working on it diligently. So
Nice. So that'll be nice. I mean, obviously you can get your Airbnb if you want, but
yep.
hopefully it'll save you a
The way
little bit of
hotel
money.
block works is I just negotiate a discounted rate, and I basically say, hey, we're going to rent 25 rooms or whatever, right? And we'll get that at a discounted rate, and then it gets shut off at a certain point where you can't get that discounted rate anymore.
And
So
it,
contractually, I'm obligated to hit that minimum. So
right. So hopefully that will we'll get that for you
yeah,
because that really helps. And also one of the things that I've always liked about events that do that is that everyone's together so that you do get to even like if we in non-official after parties type things you can just bump into people in the hallways and stuff and it just creates a little bit more of a communal
oh, and
feel.
two of the places I'm looking at have bars in the hotel. So
Perfect. So that would be a perfect place,
yeah,
to get the after party
trying
going.
to put on my corporate hat and figure this stuff out sometimes. So you know,
Um, on the teen things, I don't think we'll have to worry about this, but one of the things that I wanted to stress is that we really want to keep all-star teams from happening. Like, we don't want Dominus to come out as Dominus. We don't want the Warlords and the Executioners to team up. We would like teams to be mostly even, right? Like, this is an exhibition. If you win, you still get to be like, we won it, but like
right.
we don't have
We want it to be fun for everybody.
right.
Now, the thing that is happening is we are running this as a round robin, right? So it's not like Dominus can just eliminate a team if they show up.
Correct.
They'll just beat on 7 other teams or whatever, right?
Right.
So
I mean, and they'll most of them will probably hit balls anyway. So again, you will still get the fighting if a super team shows up, but we're gonna try hard to keep that from happening because we would much rather have teams. We're not gonna go out of our way to make sure this super equal, but like we just don't want to have a team of rookies that want to fight together because they're buddies fighting a team that's entirely 10-year vets. That's not fun for either team.
Right.
So this is a great chance for hopefully to get people who don't get to fight together to get new rookies fighting next to 10-year vets.
Yeah, so something to consider if you're a vet and you want to attend this, maybe register as a merc and get assigned to some of the other junior teams, and you can be like their mentor, right? I know that was super fun to do when I did that in the past, right? Or even going up against just one of those guys on the other team.
Yeah.
It's very nerve-wracking, but it's not overwhelming because I'm not facing 5 of them.
Right. You get to go chase that guy without having to worry about every single one. So you get your hero moment.
Yep.
And
I think Skinner still put me on my face, but
yep, sounds right. He does that a lot.
Yep.
Do I need a Scat 5? I don't know what that means. Norton Fox.
What?
Do I need a Scat 5?
Egan, what does that mean?
Well, while he's typing that, we talked about that. We talked about our staff. We're gonna have our full staff. Are we planning on getting water for folks too, or?
So there's water at the facility. So what I'm thinking, instead of like individual water bottles, because that is a waste.
Yeah.
Is we'll just fill water bottles there, and we'll probably just pick up the cheap squirt bottles and have a set of those for every team.
Cool. All right.
So it'll be, from a cost perspective, it'll cost almost exactly the same, and we won't have all that waste.
Yeah.
And then the teams can take their squirt bottles home if they want, maybe. Yeah. So.
And people won't be,
Maybe I'll brand them with Minac, and
that'd be cool. And that'd be and more of the north. It'd be a nice little souvenir you can walk home with. So yeah, show up so you can get your squirt bottle that you can bring out to other teams and be like, I was at the first mass battle tournament that happened,
in the United States.
Yeah, in 5 years, hopefully, if this goes right, this will be like one of those events that they'll be like, oh shit, were you there?
And our plan is to host War in the North every year, whether it's a TENS tournament or another tournament. Mm-hmm. This is an event we want to do every single year.
Yeah.
So, kind of is our crown jewel for the Midwest.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're really, AMCF is really excited to be part of that. Hopefully, we need more events like Carnage right now. Carnage is kind of its own thing, and nothing comes close. And we're kind of hoping this, can help elevate this to that level, so that we can get more events that are just like, maybe it's a championship, maybe it's a tense, but regardless of whatever it is, everyone's going to want to go there, and it can change its thing every year. But we know that's a quality event. A bunch of people will show up, so hopefully we can get this to that level. It's a concussion baseline test that if a concussion is suspected, I can test it. You should get a concussion baseline before you do the sport, but I didn't, so. But you should. It's a smart thing to do. You should definitely do it. Everyone should do it. Everyone should be getting those things and get tested. But, yeah. Most of us won't, because we're dumb. That's why we do this sport. Because we're not smart people.
A lot of smart people do this sport. They just get progressively dumber as they do it.
We are planning on having this streamed, correct?
That is a plan, yes. So we are talking. Keegan, what is your streamer friend? I forget his name off the top of my head. We have a streamer that we're talking to about it, so you should respond in chat.
Regardless, we will have it recorded. I can guarantee that there'll be a recording, and this will be up. We would love to get this online so people can watch, but whether that happens or not,
So Northern X Rush is one of the people we're talking to about streaming. He's got
Okay.
about 10,000 followers.
Cool. That'd be
Um,
sick.
yeah.
And he has and like there's Wi-Fi and all the internet and that's all handles.
Yeah, so they've got two different channels for Wi-Fi. They've got their back-end production channel, which they'll let us use for the stream, and
Perfect.
they got their public Wi-Fi, which will be for everybody else to fight over.
Cool. So yeah, it's just, hopefully we'll have this streamed, which would be really cool. Streamed on a giant Twitch network, so this might be one of the ones that, or YouTube. I don't know what this guy's on.
He's on Twitch.
So a giant Twitch network. So this might be again one of the bigger ones. So definitely come out. One of the fun things about tens is that for a lot of people who've been struggling in fives, they'll not everyone, but a lot of them will find that all of a sudden having that a little bit more open space, or just a little bit more people to interact with, stuff that they've been almost getting, they'll hit 4 or 5 times, and you can go on a run as a guy who has like feels like an average fighter most days, and you'll probably be an average fighter that day, but you can still have a run where you knock out 5 dudes. It's just one of the things that happens on tens. You can just kind of you can get your Mario Star moment, and people just start to topple. So great highlights, and you might get a cool highlight reel on
Your
this dude's
Al
channel.
Bundy moment, right?
What?
Get your Al Bundy moment from
Yes. Yeah. Your
Yep.
your 2 touchdowns or whatever game winning. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you're looking to put that together, another good reason to come. Food, drink, crowds. We're hoping for 600 crowd.
600 is our cap,
It's our cap. Okay.
and I'd love to hit our cap.
Yeah. I mean, you hit your cap yesterday, which is a completely
Well, that
different.
was a different facility.
But I'm gonna assume that means we're gonna hit it this time, right? Like that's how that works.
Well, we're doing some more advertising for this one, right? So, there's different advertising avenues that we're looking at. Obviously, you guys are going to be promoting it as well.
Mhm.
We're promoting it locally via Facebook ads, Eventbrite ads, stuff on like Instagram and whatnot. And I'm also considering a billboard. It's just they're spendy. It's like $1,000 investment for a digital billboard, but it would be in the area, right? And it would be showing for a month. It would be cycling through with a couple other different ads. So I'm just trying to figure out ways to hype and put 600 people in those seats.
Yeah.
So
So if anyone has good ideas on that, hit up Spence. That he hasn't already thought of, because obviously
yeah,
got the billboard, got the Facebook figured out. They are on top of a lot, but what were you saying?
Kyle is very confident we'll have the local interest to pack the place, but again, I always hedge my bets on the side of we don't, and we need to figure out how to make sure.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean that makes sure that you do the work that makes it happen. So
Yep.
I 100% agree with that. With that being the way. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit? You guys have been doing. I know this is only the second one in the north, but
Yep.
you've been doing a couple of events here too, right? This isn't your first time?
Yeah,
at this
so
place?
we've been focused on chapter wars because those are fun. And they're a great draw for a crowd as well, right? So because it's your local team versus whoever, right? Versus Iowa or versus Omaha or Cincinnati, whoever it might be. That has a good draw for a crowd. We were concerned that like just a regular tournament wouldn't have a good draw, but we broke our records with a tournament, so maybe it does. Maybe we're misreading that. So but we partnered with our local training facility and they host us for those events. And this is not there. So this is in a different location. It's like 25 minutes away from where we normally host in a different venue. So that's where my anxiety about getting people in seats comes from, is because it's just, it's a different place. So, we have to advertise differently and, it's a bigger number to hit. 150 is 4 times 600 if I do my math correctly. So
Yeah.
our last event had 155 people in seats on Saturday. So
Yeah, but I mean, you guys have been putting shows together pretty regularly now.
Yep.
you know, and you got the staff for it. It's like this event is building off of a history. So you've got the local populace, you've got a staff, and you've got a good team put together. So I don't know. I feel like everything is in place for this to be a success on all of those
I
levels.
certainly hope it will be a success, but the first step for it to be successful is for you guys to register your teams.
Yes. Yeah.
So get those
Again.
teams registered. If we don't have teams registered, we can't have the event.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, big shout out on that. Like push the people if you want to come. Please make sure captains are registering. If you don't have a team, you know, or you think you can only get 5 guys, then get your 5 guys registered now too, because you know we need those numbers to make sure that it's happening. And we have soft confirmation. Unfortunately, soft confirmation isn't confirmation, right? Like I said, like we've heard from SJK, we've heard from Dallas, we heard from Colorado. I think I've heard from Canada. Who was it from Canada who wanted to come out? The Blue Dragons, maybe. But I know Canada wanted to bring a team.
Cool.
But like, gotta register, guys. You can't just tell us that you want to come. We need to see that proof. Charles Harris and Cyrus and I talked to someone else from Dallas. Like 3 people from Dallas have said that they're coming. Have said they're not just they're coming, like a team is coming. So hopefully, you know, that actually happens. Do you guys in chat have any more questions you want to ping us with? Thoughts about this? Thoughts about tents in general? Please throw them out. I'm gonna take this thing and make an FAQ out of it that I'll put up so people can reference, because I know some of it can be a little confusing, but that's sort of we want to get as much of that as we can answered now.
Will there be a free for all to end it? Can you imagine a 160 fighter free for all?
Yeah, I can. I watched
we could do like a 50 versus 50 mass battle.
Yeah, the thing is,
there's stuff.
We'll see who's alive. Is really, you know, we'll see what people want to do when we get there. If everyone's feeling froggy or enough people, you know, maybe we'll do a 30 on 30, maybe we'll do a 50 on 50, or maybe we'll do, you know, a couple of 16 on 16s depending on what people have.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be I know it's probably, you know, it's round robin with 6 teams. We're doing first of 5, correct?
First of 5, yes.
Yeah, so
it's like a first of 3 except 5.
Right. So we're doing the standard tournament as a round robin. Only we're making sure that you get at least 1 more fight. No, 2 more. Yeah.
At least 1 more. At least 1 more.
Best of 5, not first of 5. Best of 5.
Best of 5. First of 5 would be brutal.
Yes, first to 5 is a different thing.
I mean, or we could do it as first to 3. Either way, right? It's kind of similar.
Yeah,
I think best of 5 is probably the best way to do it, though.
Yeah, so we'll figure out, you know, exactly. But the point is, you'll get a couple more fights, and it might not sound like that's actually that much fighting. That's a lot of fighting. Like everyone is gonna get more than enough. People are gonna drop out. So we will see when we get to the end if we can put something together. It's a great idea. I love it. But if we committed to that now, we'd be making the same mistake every other 5s event makes when they're like, we're gonna have a 30 on 30 at the end, and then there's 5 people left standing.
Like even for our 3s event that we were gonna have on Saturday, or that we had on Saturday, we were gonna have an all at the end, and it was a matter of we didn't have time, one, and most people were too tired to do it, except for Norton Fox. He's going to say, "Oh, I had plenty in my gas tank." Watch, he'll say that in like 5 seconds. So,
so that mediocre Bambino is asking deposit contract on events in case someone bails.
What do you mean?
What you mean by that?
So team registration, unless there's a really compelling event, I don't think that should necessarily be refundable unless Evan 100% disagrees with me.
No, I don't know. Every sport I've played, you pay for the sport, you pay for the tournament.
Yep.
That's the game. That's the thing, guys. And yeah, like extenuating circumstances happen, and if they happen and you message us, we might make a change. But we didn't. There's nothing that I saw, and nothing I think we talked about where we wanted to make it just refundable no matter what, and I
Right.
don't think it should be.
So the contract is you pay for your team. That's your contract. You've paid. Show up.
Yeah, and pay as an individual or whatever. Like you know
Exactly.
that's if you buy concert tickets, you can resell them to someone else, but you can't you can't refund them usually. Usually you have those tickets; they're your tickets now.
Yeah.
To me it's the same way. And like maybe we can work something out like that where if you get injured or whatever, hey, how can I pass it on to somebody, and we'll figure that out.
Right. Right.
But
But even like audience tickets, I generally don't refund those either.
yeah,
I had to refund 4 tickets on Saturday. 2 are from COVID, which I 100% understand. And 2 are some people bought tickets at the door. They walked in, they were there for like 3 minutes. And like, nah, we don't like this. And they walked out. And you can't argue with that. I'll give you your money back because you were only there 3 minutes.
yeah. But yeah,
So,
again, extenuating circumstances will work with you. But in
yep.
general, I don't. But on the team thing, let's say you register for your team and someone who's supposed to be on it gets injured or whatever. You registered 8 slots, so you can just
Swap it out.
yeah, go. It shouldn't be too hard. I'm not gonna say that you just will get to find a dude, but like, I would imagine it would be not too hard to find a guy to make it happen. And like that's again with every team I've ever run outside of this sport, that's how I always had to do it. I paid for my team, and then sometimes people bailed on me, and I had to find guys to come in. I never blamed anyone about it. It's besides the guys who disappeared on me, no call, no show. But yeah, there's definitely a bunch of people who who try to make this sport not pay for play, and like I want to do everything we can to make it cheap for you guys to pay. I want you to be able to play. And if we can make it free, but it's a sport and it costs money, and we want to pay our refs and we want to pay our staff and we want to make sure that it's a professional, good event, because that's that makes it more fun and more safe, and make sure that we can all go home at the end of the day. It makes it more fair. Everything is better. Like Carnage, part of the reason Carnage is such a good event is because Larry pays his staff. He takes care. He pays for a fucking event, right? So
Yep.
like,
We're not in an abandoned lot,
right.
you know,
Right,
hitting
like
each
we could just go do an event in a field and say, hey, everyone show up, and we'll probably never get a giant 10v10s event if we do that. In order to make these cool big events happen, it costs money. So yeah. Anyway, that's the long speech on no, you don't get your money back. Sorry. Yeah. So. I missed a bunch of the chat during that, but it doesn't look
It's mostly my team being my team.
just going off. Good. Have
Sorry.
fun. Go, no, don't be sorry. Go off and chat. Y'all have fun.
It's just hard. It's just hard to read the actual questions when they're being themselves.
Yeah. Well, good. If people have questions that we didn't answer, keep asking them. I think there's a way to highlight, and I promise I'm not actually just shilling for money because it's like 10 cents or something, but highlight your question for the 10 cents it costs if we didn't answer it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how Twitch works. I'm the worst streamer. It's free. It's free just for watching. You don't even have to pay. Look at that. Again, worst streamer. I don't know how this thing works. Yeah, so
Does chat have any other serious questions for us?
it doesn't not. It's not really seeming like it.
Okay.
I don't know do you have anywhere you need to jet off to?
Me?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Um, well, in that case, part of this was to hype. So maybe we can watch some of the IMCF 10 on 10s and watch our Team USA not do as well as we hoped they would. But, you
Well,
know,
they got what, silver, right?
no,
Or
the tens
oh,
team got, yeah, the 12s at Buhurt League got silver.
okay.
And we can show that too, which actually might be a little bit more representative because the list is fucking huge in Belmonte, and I assume the list you guys have is basically regular size, right? It's the Knights Hall list you said.
It is the current list we have is 20, it'll be 24 panels, 24 8-foot panels. So however we want to slice that out. Um, if we build the tabletop, it'll be 32 by, was it 32 by 24, I think.
Okay.
Might need to make it a little bit bigger.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what those numbers mean because
They're,
my no, like I just like can't picture it like that.
oh, that's fair.
You might as well have said it's
Three
apple.
three football 10-yard things.
Yeah, I've
By
newell played
two and a
football.
half. No, okay, I'm trying.
So,
Trying.
no, like I get it.
Part of a football field.
Is there a weapons check the night before? We might if we can get our marshals there early, we'll probably turn on a weapons check the night before.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. So Friday is when we're doing our setup.
Mm-hmm.
We have access to the facility Friday afternoon to start doing setup. That's when we're going to start setting up the list. We'll set up all the merch tables. We'll set up all the fighter team tables, fighter tables, that kind of stuff. And we'll have all that labeled. So you guys just go in, look for your team name, and that's where you'll sit down. Mercs, it'll have a little more difficult. You'll have to remember who you've been assigned to before you go sit down. That will be your area, right? So try not to make it super messy because you will be responsible for cleaning your space. And we'll have a merchandise area. So I'm toying with the idea of allowing outside merch people to come in. Like, let's say Brett Skinner wanted to come in and sell axes. He could get a table, purchase a table and sell axes there or something like that. I'm toying with that idea. Not sure if we're going to execute on it yet or not, or if that'll just be a distraction. Then we also have the bleachers are getting set up on Friday. List is getting set up on Friday. Projector is getting set up on Friday. We'll test the streaming on Friday, make sure that's all working and ready to go. And then we can either start doing weapons checks Friday night if we want, or we'll just do that really early Saturday morning. So those minutia details haven't been worked out yet. So
yeah, I mean, part of it is we don't. Again, like for example, our head marshal coming from Mexico, we haven't booked her flight yet. We haven't booked her room yet. We don't know the rest of the marshal staff we're getting. I know we're hoping to get Franklin from Colorado. We're hoping to get a couple more from out of town, so it's not just all on Minac to provide. So that we have a decent marshal staff there, and then obviously we're gonna have everyone who's coming. Not everyone. We'll have some people who are coming who are just there to get certified refs, who will be able to do some of the marshalling. But we don't know their time schedules, and we haven't.
Franklin's on the stream right now.
Oh hey! You're the IMCF certified marshal. That's why he's asking. Yeah, well, we haven't figured out your timeline, so that's part of why we don't know. How do marshals and support staff dressed? Yeah.
As far as dress goes, I don't know. Medieval looks cool.
Yeah.
But it's easier to get people in like a ref shirt or a bright yellow shirt. So
I personally prefer the ref shirts, but the fact that we're bringing Allie makes me assume we're gonna want to push for the yellow because I believe that's an IMCF.
Let's talk about shoes.
All right.
Everyone always wants to talk about shoes. We're going to be on artificial turf. My experience with period shoes on artificial turf is it's a great way to break an ankle. What are your thoughts on required shoes?
I would personally, I'm fine with giving it a wave because I don't think people check them. I'm not going to sit here and that's the thing that I would like to talk to Allie about, right? Like we're bringing in the head marshal for a reason. We want to have this done right. But I would believe that she'd give us a pass. That said, I wear artificial shoes. I mean, I wear medieval shoes everywhere. I wear them on turf. I wear them. I think they're great. I think that I think the cleats are more dangerous. You're more likely to get stuck and do a weird twist.
Well, I wouldn't say cleats, but I was thinking
Sure.
like, something with
Yeah. With some ankle support.
yeah.
That's not just
So
pure leather.
what we've done historically, at least with Wyvern events, Minek events, when we're not requiring period shoes, is you either have to wear brown or black boots, steel toe boots, or Sabatons with any other kind of shoe you want underneath it. So at least it doesn't look like you're wearing bright
Yeah.
yellow Nikes,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's valid. I think making it look the part is great. I'm also personally I don't care. Wear your shiny yellow ones, but that's a personal thing. I do think it's important to say that since we were talking about clothes too, while the marshals might dress medieval, no one else will have to. That's definitely like
Right.
your support doesn't have to come in garb. It's just that seems to be the IMCF's take on marshalling. Personally, I prefer the ref look. I think the ref look makes us look more like a sport, but again,
I will be less likely to run over a ref than
than
someone
a
in guard.
marshal. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
especially since there's a uniformity. And marshals just wear yellow. It's not that uniform. It's a whole conversation. There's a whole thing there. But yeah, for shoes, personally, if I get to make the call, I say we allow everything that everything that seems safe. Like I would say we can't let people go out barefoot. If I have to make the call.
So Franklin is saying it's not just a matter of looks; it's a matter of fairness. If one team is wearing sneakers with Sabatons, another team is period shoes. That's a major advantage for one side.
Sure.
That's what, and Franklin, that's why we would publish
Right.
the requirement, right? Of if you want to wear your non-period shoes, here's what you have to do to wear them. If you want to wear period shoes, go for it. Just understand that other people might not be wearing them.
Yeah.
That's how you keep that fair.
And again, part of the reason I would say, just let people do whatever is because no one checked my shoes at IMCF. No one had me pick them up and look to see if I was wearing cleats underneath them or if it was just leather over, right?
Right.
I know lots of people who like you said, Sabatons over steel-toed boots.
I wear Sabatons over wrestling shoes mostly.
So to speak to the matter of fairness, if we're not doing, those checks, it's almost more fair to let people do whatever. And this point actually came up, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. IMCF has a minimum thickness for armor that I've never once seen checked. And I've always followed it. I still follow it. I just made my own set of armor. Well, Mikey made it, but I helped. My TI is much heavier than everyone else's because I went with the minimums. I actually didn't go with, and there's a bunch of people wearing 0.6. And they'll fight IMCF, and that's like half of what the minimum is supposed to be.
They're wearing 0.6 titanium.
Yeah, or 0.5. I don't know what the numbers are, but they're wearing like half.
That's minimum for spring steel is 0.6, right? So for limbs.
That sounds right. I think it was I think it was 1 or 0.9 for TI. I'm real bad at the numbers. That was not. But yeah, the point is, if you, it's a thing that a lot of people can and do cheat with because no one checks it. And there's no practical way of checking it. So again, to me, for the shoe thing, I think it's best if we just let them. But that is one we can check. It's not in the same way we check everyone's armor. We can actually pick up their feet and check them. Uh-oh. Franklin's gonna start bringing calipers. I'm gonna be so excited if you start bouncing people. I shouldn't be, but like
Franklin, this was not the discussion.
Brace is like, I gotta go check my armor. Yeah. So yeah. that's that on shoes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
All
was there
right.
something
I think
else?
we're in agreement on shoes.
um, yeah, especially since we are on a modern field too. I think it's at the more modern stadiums and the more modern crowd, we being. I think AC is less important. I do think I've been slowly pushed into the understanding that people do care about some level of AC, and I do
Mm-hmm.
have to acknowledge that. And so, like, people don't want Space Marines fighting Urukai. They do want knights fighting
Well,
knights. But
that depends on the event.
in
Yeah.
general, it seems that what people want is they do want to look and feel like it's knights. But like,
Yep.
what that means essentially is that you kind of look, your helmet kind of looks right. That your armor is not weirdly has giant points everywhere that it shouldn't have. It's really a pretty mild thing from what I've been gathered to gather from fighters and from fans. So yeah, but and I think that even at a casual event, they still want that, but that's about it. They want it to be Hollywood good or maybe a step above, but like that's it. You know.
Well, while we're talking about that, let's talk about a couple other things. Belt numbers.
Oh yeah, shit. We should 100% make that required.
Okay. Belt numbers are going to be required. Matching tabards. That's going to be a tough one, right? Because
I don't think
you have
matching
mixed teams.
tabards are we one thing that we can do, we can get sashes, and we can just give like if two teams come out with like a bunch of people of the same color, be like, hey, everyone on this, here is your yellow
Blue
sash, your
sashes.
blue
Yeah.
sash. Yeah, yellow's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
point. Um,
Here's your blue sash. Here's your red sash.
yeah, or just blue, right? Like
Right.
because sash and no sash, I think might be easier than color identification, and they're pretty easy to attach. You put it in, you put your belt over it, and then you make sure it goes under your shoulder, and that way it doesn't slip down. Like some people, and like for some people it won't slip down anyway, but like that's the worst thing that's gonna happen, is that if you don't put it on right, it'll slip down, it'll bind you a little bit, but it's really easy to put it on and put it on quickly in a way that it won't bind. And I think we can do that the day of. And I only think that matters when you look and you go, all right, well, that team's half red and half, pink, and the other team is half purple and also half red. Well, crap. We have two half reds out there, so.
So, Franklin, what will happen is mercs are going to be assigned beforehand, anyways. So that's up to the teams to figure out their belt numbers at that point. I feel like.
I
Um,
Yeah, I think that the big thing to do is have squads bring belt numbers for their squads, and
yep.
if we have belt numbers with some overlap, I
So be
think
it.
I think that's okay for now. I think it's our first time doing it. I really just think getting it out there and having some identification is better. And like, hey, you won't have two people wearing the same belt number who look the same because they'll
Right.
clearly have different tabards and have right. So
13 on Kenya's is going to look different than 13 on Wyverns.
right. So we can do that. But yeah, ideally we'll have the full thing, and so squads that have a full set of belt numbers bring them. Um, you know, but if we don't, I don't think that's the big thing. And like, if you're coming as a merc, I would personally say bring your own. Like get your own belt number just to have. And then if you go to fight with any team and they don't have your favorite number, cool. Now you have it. You're ready to go. Show up. Have it in the same way. Like if you're a merc, have your own merc tabard. Don't rely on the team having it, because most teams will have an extra tabard, but just have a personal tabard anyway.
Yeah. For the love of God, bring a tabard. Please have a tabard.
Yeah, I'm the biggest offender of like show up in trash gear, and even I have a tabard. So like, come on.
If Ringo can do it, anyone can do it.
That's and like yeah, and if people need, if people don't know how to make tabards, it's real easy to do a really shitty fucking square tabard. You just cut a hole and you cut it flat and you belt it on, and it'll look garbage. But we're not Boo Hurt League. It's good enough for now. You know, and IMCF does not have a minimum requirement for authenticity. So like if you at least.
And before my team pipes up, we are wearing our team tabards. You're not wearing your personal tabards.
No, yeah, bring your team tabard. Bring your team tabard. But if you don't have a team tabard, make one,
right,
so that when you get here, it's a little bit easier for everything to work out.
No milk tabards. God. We had some guys make some specific tabards for our threes. They were the Milk Kings, and they made tabards with cows on the front, just for that event.
I mean, honestly,
and it was hilarious. I loved it.
For it. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of want one of those milk tabards.
They got milk hard though, so.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, we're going an hour and 15 actually now. We've gone over time, so
that's fair.
I guess we'll give a little bit more, but I'm not gonna pull up the 10s because we're talking and I failed to do it, and we've gone out to our time, so I feel good.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone that showed up on the stream. I think how many of them are there?
Currently, there's 11. It got up to at least 16. It might have been 20. Okay. There's usually at least another 10 or 20 who watch later. I'm definitely going to be posting this to my YouTube. We might post this to the AMCF YouTube. It will be linked in AMCF. It will be linked in on our event page. And again, like I said, I'm going to be making an FAQ based on all of this information, and that will live everywhere that is easy to access.
One thing I do want to mention, should have mentioned this a lot sooner in the stream.
Yeah.
The date on the Eventbrite event will show it ending August 1st. That's okay. The event is still happening August 12th. The Eventbrite for team registration ends August 1st, so we can get the money from Eventbrite to actually do the event.
The registration ends August 1st.
Yeah, the registration
not
ends
the event.
Right.
Cool. Good. That's important.
Yes. And I don't want people getting confused.
They will, and I guarantee we're going to get questions about that. That happens every time.
Which is fine.
So yeah, like you said, thank you guys for tuning in. Please go out if you are coming pre-reg. If you are coming, let all of your friends know. Push them to pre-reg. If you're not coming, think about it. Think about coming instead. And then push all your friends to go anyway so that they can have a good time, even though you're not going to have a good time because you won't be going. I really think this has the potential to be like the event of the year. Like if everything goes well, this will be in contention with Dragon Con, with Carnage, with AMCF qualifiers, with all of those things. So yeah. With that, think that's it.
Sounds good.
Cool. Peace. Bye, buddy.